You might own a nice little property with a couple of tenants, nice area, and a reasonable sizable mortgage. Not unusual, common commercial property investment. Things are going along very smoothly. All of a sudden, your largest tenant has stopped paying rent. Houston, we have a problem. What do you do next? There's many things you can do. Obviously, the first thing people do, go to their lawyer and see what they can do, instructions, that sort of thing. But there are things you can do beforehand to get ready for that situation if it goes that far. Now, these are the things that work for me. I'm here to get legal advice. Obviously, if you go about doing these things, you should obviously talk to your lawyers. But this is what I did. Firstly, when I was managing properties, 100 or so tenants and 1,000 tenants at the time I was managing, and had very few problems with tenants, very few non-payers, and very few court appearances over that period of time. And occupancy was pretty good, despite the property downturns in that period as well too. But what I used to do is, I was a hands-on person. I wouldn't be sitting in the office. I'd be on the road, going out there, talking to tenants. And in those days, especially in the early days of property management, there was no direct deposits. It'd be a check. So everything was judged on the first of the month. I'd go around, and if I didn't send a check to us, I'd go and say hello, collect any checks that anyone had any checks. And they knew. It was like Pavlov conditioning. They see me, they knew it was a time to pay the rent. And some automatically, without even me asking them, just get the checkbook, write a check and hand it over. But situations where some tenants keep to themselves, it's a good sign. And they decide to stop paying rent. But that could be a number of reasons. Most tenants are good tenants, hardworking, good business people, and want to pay rent. They don't want any problems. But occasionally things happen and they stop paying rent. Could be the economy might be going bad. Maybe there are health problems, partnership problems, or something like that, or the business is going slow. So when you go around visiting these business people, you get an idea of how prompt they are in their payments. There are hints around there how they're going business-wise, and sometimes how they're going with partnerships and health problems too. They usually tell you. It's not really your business, but if you know them well enough, they'll tell you there's problems around. Instead of staying in the office and not watching what they're doing, talk to your tenants. Be on good terms with them. Unfortunately, these days, the temptation is to get company, high volume, low cost, and obviously they haven't got the time to spend on your property, and problems can occur. When you've got the situation of not paying rent, look around. Is the general market going down? The rents are going down? Is there high occupancy around? Is there what's high interest rates? Usually those situations, that's when these things happen. Now, what do you do? Okay, when they get behind their rent, send them a letter or email, reminders, statements. Is overdue. Please reply to us. No reply after a couple of letters. You've got to try and contact them physically. Maybe talk to them, arrange a meeting. And what I have done in the past, but successful, people that just don't want to talk to you, they're obviously in a situation they want to talk, they're embarrassed by the situation, or they want to keep away from you, is my boss just say to me, grab your newspaper, grab your book, and sit in the reception area. So I go, walk in the office, sit in the reception area, grab my book. The assistant knew who I was, the most likely reason I was there for. And I said, can I speak to Mr. whatever, or Mrs. whatever? And after a period of time, they used to emerge and they start talking to me. Maybe if they were busy, they'd say, can you come and see me tomorrow? It's very important that you get in early and start talking to them, what the problem is. I have to tell you exactly what the problem is exactly, but you may be able to come to arrangement if you talk to them in a nice way. If you start being negative and threatening initially, usually back off. When you find out some sort of reason behind it, most time I'll tell you the truth. So like a business is going not very well. I've had problems with my partner. I'm going for a divorce, or I've got some health issues I'm sorting out. or this contract, hasn't paid me for a while, he's paying me next month. Be reasonable. Come to some arrangement. Say, look, okay, pay us half a month this month, half a month next month, then make up for it in 3 months' time, whatever it may be. Maybe there's other incentive. If the economy is not going very well and there's vacancies around and the lease is due very soon, maybe you can go, look, I'll give you this reduced rental if you take up a 3-year extension on your lease. That might work. So be open to these suggestions. Look at their reaction. Some may promise you, I'll pay you next week or 10 days time, whatever it may be, and nothing happens. Meanwhile, they're getting further behind, and you're not confident there's a positive resolution coming soon. What do you do? Obviously, you look at the circumstances the way you see them. Most leases, this varies just country to country. The general off-the-shelf floor leases I've seen are 14 days. After 14 days, you've got the right to evict them. Is the last resort. I have done it quite a few times, but sometimes you've got to do it. Issue notices, letters, statements, gather the evidence that they are behind their rent. If they promise you something, they don't fulfill it. Every right to evict them. You give them notice beforehand. You don't pay by this date. We'll do what we can. We're bound by the current lease. Eviction is not a very nice process. Locking them out, sometimes they get violent. I've had people in front of me and waving their hands at me, threatening me. It's not unusual, but that's the law. You're allowed to do. Then, once they're evicted, you can't touch the property. They can come back and pay their rent, move back in again, and continue working if they come good with the money. If not, they stay out and you sort out the situation with their property and that sort of stuff. Now, this situation with the evicted lot depends on the current economy. If there's high vacancies around, the economy's not going too well, you may have to be more lenient, give them more time, because basically, the place is going to remain empty. So some money is better than no money. But that's why we've got bonds, usually 3-month bond, and you make sure you don't go over 3 months or 2 months, whatever the bond is. That's what you do. If they had a situation evict the tenant, just go and work out how much they owe. You claim it off the bond, pay them any money that's left over. Things over. They collect their goods, go to the next tenant. A situation where the landlords think that, okay, this person's not paying rent, that's fine, I can certainly get the difference. Or they evict them and just assume that, start again. Okay, once you evict them, situation where you've got the bond, if you cover all your costs of your bond, you just get the money and usually they don't come back to you. Other times where the property manager has been a bit slack, let them things just go on, get further and further behind, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months behind their rent, maybe damage the property or that sort of thing. What do you do? Obviously, the first thing is most people talk to their lawyer, but there are other ways you can do it. Other ways I used to do it. Again, I'm not giving legal advice. It's the way I used to work for me. Discuss it with your lawyer if you want to do it. It was a small claim, under $100,000 where it was. It's a local small claim, a local court. I used to then talk to the sheriff. They're very knowledgeable. They're streetwise. They do this all the time. They're used to dealing with all these non-payers. And you write a letter of demand. Now, with this letter of demand, they issue a summons, physically issue a summons to the tenant or ex-tenant, pay you a certain amount of money, ensure that you've got invoices, statements, and that sort of thing. And you've got a record over a period of time, because they just can't just turn up and no evidence at all. They issue this demand, depending on the state or country you're in, they've got 28 days to respond. Why they haven't paid or what arrangement they can make. They may come back to you and say, listen, we're going to pay you this amount and we'll pay you in 3 months or it may be. You're told that, you may decide to go ahead with it and sort it out. That's held judgment. Now, if there's no reaction back within 28 days, again, depending on the state or country you're in, there's a judgment against them. Probably go to court and dispute it and find a solution in court. If not, there's a judgment and it's ruled that you this amount of money or whatever it may be. And many times the sheriff might go in their premises, they move somewhere else or in their home, take possession of items which may be of value to try and make up for that debt. But the judgment is against them. They can wind them up and all these sort of things. Again, it's something you take on with your lawyers. Some landlords decide just to let them go and see what happens. They ask him what's going on. He owes his rent. When he gets the payers, they go, I'll pay you next week, next month, what it may be. Nothing happens. Many times the tenants just walk out. They may have 2 years left in their lease and they walk out. And the landlords have got the opinion that, okay, that's fine. It's 2 years. They owe us X amount of money per month and they'll just click over. And at the end of 2 years, we consume the whole amount, possibly. But the thing is, the responsible thing on both sides, the tenant and the landlord, is to do whatever possible to mitigate the loss, trying to release the premises. So you as a landlord decide to do nothing about it. My experiences, going to court over this matter, probably a little chance of getting that money, especially if a tenant is trying to do something about it. On the other hand, then the tenant's got to get the loss as well too. So you can't just let debts just go on. You've got to be acting upon it and being responsible about it. And assume that you're going to get all the money because it's just building up and you can get them. Maybe they've got a house or whatever they've got and sell it and get your money back and it's all over. Usually not that easy. Like I said, there's some of the ways that I used to do it. Property management. Now, again, I ask as you discuss with your lawyer, if you get a situation where tenant gets behind their rent or due to financial problems, act quickly because you let it go. It just gets bigger and bigger and harder to resolve because the longer it goes on, it gets much more complex and you've got to be proactive all along. How are you looking after your tenants? Are you keeping close contact with them? Are you ensuring your property manager or yourself as a owner manager? Are you talking to your tenants? Do you know what's going on? Keep on top of things and generally things go well. Once they get a bit with the rents behind, act quickly. Otherwise, it'll linger on and on. I'd like to hear comments. How do you deal with your bad tenants who not paying rent? Are you looking after your tenants? Are they looking after you? I'd like to hear comments and please subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.